What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel, the #1 place for new coaches, content creators, and entrepreneurs. In today's video, I really want to walk you through what you should be considering in order to find the perfect business coach or mentor for you. Now, I know exactly how daunting it is to find your very first mentor or your very first business coach, and as someone who's worked with multiple coaches, whether it was through private coaching, group coaching, or just simply taking their courses, I feel like I know a thing or two in order to save yourself some headache and some trial and error in order to find that perfect match for you. That's why if you're interested in learning more about this, then I highly advise you keep on watching. Alright, so right out of the gate, I want to share with you guys something that Sam Ovens once said, and it resonated with me so much. And what he says is that the Facebook ads expert is always going to tell you that Facebook ads is the way to go. The branding expert is always going to tell you that branding is the way to go. The person who loves social media and built their business off social media, aka me, is always going to tell you social media is the way to go. But what's important to know is that there are 101 million more ways to make money online. However, there's so many different paths that you need to consider, and there isn't just one straight line to making income on or even offline. That's why my #1 tip for you is to make sure you understand what type of business model you want. I know when I was just starting a year ago, I found myself super overwhelmed. And the reason for this is I was literally following every single entrepreneur that was making 6 or 7 figures, thinking that because they had money, that they're gonna be the perfect mentor for me because they were successful. And that could not be farther from the truth. Just because someone is making money doesn't mean that they're the perfect coach or mentor for you. Not only this, at the time, I heard people saying to me that having a bomb-ass sales page was the way to go, and making sure that your email marketing was on point was the way to go, and that was the #1 way to attract leads. Another person was telling me that YouTube was the way to go. Other people were telling me that Facebook ads was the way to go. Other people were also saying that hosting live events was the way to go, and I was so overwhelmed. But when I really asked myself who were the entrepreneurs that I truly admired, that I always listened to, that I really resonate with and I really agree with, it was Sunny Lenarduzzi, Erin May Henry, Amy Porterfield, and all 3 of these women post valuable ass content every single week, whether it's through YouTube or podcasts, and that's how they were able to attract massive tribes, which allowed them to easily and effortlessly sell their programs and their products and all of their services. And I wanted my business model to be the exact same, especially since ever since I was in high school, I wanted to be a YouTuber. And to me, this felt like the perfect match. And that's why I only listen to people that have the results that I want, not just monetary results, but also how they run their business. That's why for you, you really need to dive deep and ask yourself, what type of business model do you see for your own business? And then narrow down which mentors you would like to follow in order to get that result. Moving on to the second piece of advice that I have for you when it comes to narrowing down that perfect business mentor or business coach, and that is pay attention to their style. Now, understanding their business model is one thing. However, you need to recognize that a lot of different people could have the same business model. What you need to pay attention to though is how they deliver things. What's their style? Are they really buttoned up and all they wear is blazers and they're really process driven? Or are they really spiritual, really grounded, really intuitive? Neither approach is wrong. What matters is that you're choosing the right approach for you. For example, if you are someone who is super spiritual and this is a big value that you have within how you want to operate your business or how you want to operate in general, then if you're hiring a business coach or a mentor who is not very spiritual and is actually very strategic, very process driven, then you're going to have a hard time and there's going to be a lot of friction there. So you really want to pay attention to what type of coach that you want in terms of style, not just business style, but you also want to understand them as a person. Are they someone who is very drill sergeant-like, is going to tell you what to do, not really going to hold your hand? Or are you looking for someone that's going to be your BFF and is never going to tell you no? Now, obviously, these are 2 opposite ends of the spectrum, and I do not recommend either of them, but that's just an extreme example that you want to pay attention to, because at the end of the day, it's not just the result that matters from the coaching experience, but it's the actual experience. You want to have a good time with your coach. You want to feel like you're supported. You want to feel like there is a synergy between you two, and it's really important that you actually narrow down what type of style that you're really looking for. Now, obviously, for many of you, you might not know what style this coach has. That's why the next piece of advice that I have for you is to pay attention to their free content. Now, I'm not saying that you need to judge a coach or a mentor based on how much content that they do, because honestly, volume does not matter, and they definitely don't need to be like me, posting 2 videos a week on YouTube every single week, but for the content pieces that they do have, really evaluate it. Understand if you actually learned something from it, if you like their style while they were delivering that content, especially if it's something that you can actually listen to or see. Really pay attention to that, because more often than not, their free content is a really great preview of the paid content. And at least for me, when I'm looking at which mentors that I want to work with, I'm always judging it by their free content, whether it was their webinar, their masterclass, their YouTube videos, their podcast episodes, their blog posts, their freebies, their opt-ins, their email newsletter. Even that I pay attention to. And if I don't like it, or I don't resonate with it, or I really didn't learn anything, then I probably won't invest in their programs. And that's just me. You might be completely different, but what I found is that every time I've invested in a mentor or a really high ticket offer, I never regretted it, because I really valued that person's free content first. So make sure you're not rushing in the process of getting a business coach or a fancy mentor, and instead consume the free content and then decide from there. Now, at this point, maybe you've consumed that person's free content and you love it. However, one thing you also need to consider is really acknowledge the stage that you're at, and this is really important. For example, you could adore the content from a 7 or 8-figure coach that's teaching you all these extreme things like doing your sales funnels, creating crazy marketing campaigns and all of that. But if you are someone who's literally at stage 0, doesn't even have a niche, doesn't even have an offer, then you likely want to find a coach that actually can help you with this area first before you graduate onto these other systems and processes. Trust me, you will get there. But if you're watching this and you're a beginner, really look for coaches or mentors who specialize in helping people just like you. And then eventually hire another coach or get more mentorship from people who have leveled up. For me, when I started, my first coach was someone who helped me fine-tune my offer. And then afterwards, I worked with someone who's actually going to help me scale and hit more milestones in my business. Don't feel like you need to just hire one mentor for the rest of your life. It doesn't work like that. Every coach that you hire or every person that you work with is going to serve a massive purpose within a certain phase of your business. And if you're a coach yourself and you're watching this, understand that for you as well. Your clients are going to graduate from your program. They're going to hire other coaches. Don't feel bad. Don't feel like you're not good enough. Just understand that you've served your purpose for that one client at that stage that they were at, and now they're moving on. And the same thing's going to happen to you when you work with your own mentors as well. So make sure as you're choosing which mentors or coaches you want to work with, acknowledge the stage that you're at and make sure that that coach specializes in that stage that you're specifically in. Now, moving on to another piece of advice that I have, and this one is actually something that nobody really considers until they actually make this mistake. And that is understand time zones. Especially in an online world, you really want to pay attention to time zones. If you're hiring a coach from all across the country, then guess what? Your calls are going to be brutal. You're going to be waking up super early or you're going to be staying up super late. Now, if you're okay with that, that's fine. But I just really wanted to put this in this video because a lot of people actually don't put this into consideration when they're hiring a coach. Not only this, not just time zones, but you also want to look at just life experiences. I have a friend who is a side hustler, and guess what? She ended up hiring someone who was never a side hustler, and therefore there was a huge disconnect. And now that she's hired someone who is also a side hustler that actually understands what it's like to be a side hustler, there is massive synergies. So you really want to make sure that that piece is there as well when you're looking at who you want to hire. And the best way to do this is to go on these discovery calls, go on sales calls, actually go on these free strategy calls, or whatever these coaches are calling it. Go on a free call with them and ask them these questions. Really understand what time zone they're in, what their flexibilities are when it comes to scheduling calls, and understand what their life experiences are as well. If you're a mom and you're working with someone who's never been a mom, then maybe that might be an issue for you because maybe they will have less understanding when you have to cancel a call because you have to pick up your kid or something like that. So these are little tiny things that not a lot of people pay attention to that I definitely wanted to add into this video before you actually hire someone who may not be the right fit for you, both time zone wise and lifestyle wise. Now, so far in this video, we talked a lot about how to find the perfect coach that is suited for you. But what about clients? That's why I want you to hit the notification bell, because in my next video, I'm gonna talk to you all about the top 5 reasons or top 5 signs that someone is a nightmare client. These are the clients that you might wanna avoid before you actually take them on into your business. So make sure you hit the notification bell, because in my next video, we're gonna dive really deep into all of that. With that being said, guys, make sure you also check out these 2 videos right here as well. I talk a lot about social media, business, online marketing, all these things, so make sure you check out those videos as well. In the meantime, while you wait for those videos, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I hope you guys have a great day, a great week, and a great life, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.